All right, everyone. Welcome to another exciting round. I was going to say game, but this does mark the beginning of round 4 of the League of Inadequate Gamers. This is Josh Neutral Chaotic Duke, and I'm not going to butcher your name this time, Nick Cervantes Brown. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem at all. Thank you for getting it right this time.
Yeah, of course. That's what friends do.
Fine, I take it back.
Yeah. Good. No sportsmanship. I'd like to say that Rydal is kind of like our Combat X in our league. You know, like he doesn't type easy over and over again, but doesn't really do the whole good luck, have fun.
No, he's heartless, man.
Yeah, it's more like GLSD.
Take no prisoners, which
I'm all for.
Absolutely keeps it interesting.
This is America. That's in our Constitution.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, something about taunting your enemies when they go down.
Yeah, definitely. So, pretty standard build. The map is Backwater Gulch. Everyone's doing...
Hopefully we see a little more standard than CrAzian's last game on this map.
For those who didn't see, he tried to wall off both sides over here. I think he was actually in this position, too.
I think you're right.
It didn't work too well, to say the least.
And we see Richard gets the early scout, whereas looks like Steven's going to be his second stop.
Yeah. I'd like to say that Richard has done some interesting, not like cheese, but, he's done some...
He definitely landed a factory in my base when we played last week.
Yeah, I was going to say. And he has this SCV really nicely hidden up here. And pretty far out of CrAzian's view.
I'm pretty sure CrAzian did not notice. I'm watching his camera now. It doesn't look like he even suspects that there's an SCV in his base.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
CrAzian actually has gotten the scout, though, so I don't know. Maybe this SCV will do something. Maybe it won't.
It looks like he's going to snipe one SCV. One more hit.
Oh, it's going to be close.
Oh, it's not going to make it.
It's dead.
He got it. One down.
First kill of the game. First blood.
Yep. And we do see that Richard now has his first Marine out, so that probe is a goner.
Yeah. Run, little probe. Run! This is interesting, and we've talked to CrAzian about this before, but I think he screwed up his wall off again, unless he's trying to do a complete wall off. I'm pretty sure there's a little bit of a gap, but I'm pretty sure only small units can get through there. And so if he builds anything like Stalkers or Immortals even, he wouldn't be able to do anything there.
And Richard moves his SCV, which CrAzian immediately spots, and it is now running out of the base.
Yeah.
So I guess we're not going to go for the sneaky build inside the base this time.
No sneaky tactics.
No sneaky tactics. I was really looking forward to that too. And we see now the tech lab going down, as well as the second barracks.
Pretty standard so far.
CrAzian's getting up to 3 gates now. Warp gates coming down.
Gets his second gas. I know CrAzian's a big fan of expanding relatively quickly, so we'll see if he throws down a Nexus. I wouldn't assume so now, since he just threw down a 4th gateway. Isn't that a 4th one?
That's Robo Facility.
Oh,
and
yeah,
looks like he's going for the good old 3-gate Robo, Scout, and then choose what to do next. But neither of these guys have made almost any units. We have 3 Marines and 1 Zealot.
Yeah. But after the really short series we had between, it was, the Brotos and...
CrAzian last week?
Oh, yeah, CrAzian's been playing a whole bunch. It'll be nice to see a little bit more of an extended series, and that's what we're getting so far.
See who can play the macro tech up game best.
Interestingly enough, CrAzian's sending a lonely Zealot to Scout, which I'm not sure exactly why. Maybe
I think he's just
hide him.
He's
in the
checking
mineral
for
field?
the expansion.
Yeah,
I think his main point is to figure out the expansion. What I would like to see right now is him taking out these back rocks here while he's got the time.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. Just start the Zealot and start sniping these rocks.
I mean, if it's going to hang out down there anyways, might as well open up another pathway. But
yeah, it just seems like an interesting place. So.
And we do see CrAzian getting his Nexus now. He's got 3 warp gates and a Robo.
Yeah, and Rydal's going for a starport. So we might see some MMM coming.
Yeah, and we see the observers coming in, so I guess in a few seconds it'll have an idea of what Richard's doing, which is not a whole lot at
Yeah.
present.
Not a whole lot of action, but I'm pretty sure it's an old Chinese proverb. StarCraft game begins slow. StarCraft game go long time. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100%, but
I admire your ability to translate those difficult
thank you.
sayings.
Yeah.
And we see here Richard supply blocked himself now, so I don't see any. Oh, I guess he has another supply depot going down now.
Yeah.
And CrAzian gets the scout. He's got the observer in the base.
But Richard definitely sees the observer. He's just positioned the Marines and is just waiting for the scan to
Yep.
charge. So that observer is not going to last very long, and I don't think CrAzian's actually controlling it or anything. So
Yeah, that's going to die momentarily. And we have a Raven coming out too, actually.
I like that. I mean, I think more and more often I've seen Terrans start to play with Ravens more, and they're a really, really versatile unit. You know, with the auto turrets that can be dropped, they can actually do a ton of damage. So
Absolutely. And now we see a robotics base, so it looks like CrAzian's going to go for the nice Stalker, Zealot, Colossus mix.
yeah, the only thing about that is it's a pretty interesting place to put the robotics bay. It seems a little vulnerable to me. I would have put that back up in the base just to keep it away from getting sniped, because it's by these collapsible rocks. So
Yeah, absolutely.
there goes the observer.
Yep. And now we have one Raven and how many? Oh, we have 8 Marauders and 10 Marines.
Mm-hmm.
And CrAzian's working on 5 Zealots and 4 Stalkers. And interestingly, both players have, well, CrAzian just went 3 up on probes, but 23 Harvesters to 20.
Yeah,
But over 2 bases, which I guess gives you a slight advantage.
yeah, the economics are pretty much balanced. I mean, I don't know. I'd just say that the only thing about all this is CrAzian doesn't have any sentries, which this is an MMM ball for sure. It looks like Richard might actually be going for a drop, but I mean, basically it's an MMM ball. Oh, and hold on, that's really interesting. Richard forgot to research Stim Pack, so it's going to be pretty ineffective until...
Well, it's about halfway done. It looks like it will be done by the time he gets into any combat.
Yeah.
And our first Colossus is now on the field. Extended Thermal Lance is coming down.
Yeah, I wish CrAzian would get some sentries because they're so good against ground units. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Personally speaking, I mean, I know both of us have been using sentries, force field a whole lot more, but they are
Absolutely.
a true lifesaver.
Particularly if you're going to have Marauders kiting your Stalkers.
And this
You need something to force them into
this is going to
combat.
be bad. Sorry about that. But yeah, this is going to be pretty bad. CrAzian's going to lose a bunch of probes, and he's not pulling them. There they go. Unfortunately, one probe just popped out, and he will be, we'll get to mine for another day.
And it looks like Richard does a very sneaky thing, picks them up immediately and heads for the other mineral line.
Really?
CrAzian has not pulled his new probes, but he has his Stalkers out. He might be able to hold this off.
He warped them in right away. Really good play from CrAzian. Knows that the drops are probably going to continue on.
Yeah.
Now, he did do a little bit of economic damage, but CrAzian is still leading the harvester count. So
Yeah, absolutely. He looks like he got 8 workers, or he killed a probe earlier, so I guess just 7 in that attack.
I'm also not sure if I would put the Colossi there, because I don't think that Richard necessarily knows that CrAzian has gone Colossi.
Yeah, definitely. If we check Richard's view, he hasn't actually seen the Robo Bay either. I'm not sure.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm not sure that leaving the Colossus there was intentional. I would just drop a Stalker there. Okay, you put a pylon down so now I can warp in.
And here's the little Zealot that has been parked there forever. He's going to come in and, wow, that's actually kind of a smart idea for a little while until this giant death ball comes over and slaughters the lonely Zealot.
And now we have the drop coming in, picking off workers. A cannon's warping in, but it is going to be way too late.
Yeah.
CrAzian really needed to warp in some Zealots on that pylon while it was still there, and he's just going to lose a ton of workers.
Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate.
And now Richard knows everything as far as the Colossi go, and CrAzian is absolutely like no probes.
Yeah, it's not good news. He does get one cannon up. but
Unpowered.
yeah, unpowered. There's actually a
And the
whole...
pylon placement may not actually power it.
Yeah, maybe not. Let's see here. I forget how much. Okay, it does power it, but still, I mean, he doesn't have that many ground units. He doesn't have any sentries. He's relying on the big flashy colossi again, I'm kind of afraid to say. And I don't think that he can win a big engagement against Richard right now. He needs to be warping in way more warp gate units.
And we see here, Richard, after seeing the Colossi, has brought in 2 Vikings, and he's making, 5 more.
Yeah, he wants to be able to one-shot the Colossi, and that's going to be huge, especially because, I mean, he probably saw that CrAzian doesn't have that many sentries, or stalkers, so his anti-air is not going to be very good.
Richard just went and used his medevac drop units to scout, made sure there's not a third anywhere, and now he has his just 4 Vikings, I guess, as an escort.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like he's going to go for a pincer attack of some variety once CrAzian moves his army out.
Still no...
Bad timing to move the army out. Richard's moving in with his 4 Vikings and drop.
Is he going to be landing the Vikings? Okay.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
And he is like, CrAzian immediately pulls the probes. I think he didn't lose any on that particular time, and CrAzian's just going to go all in here. So it would be really interesting to see how this one plays out.
Yeah.
And 3 Colossi with fantastic positioning. There's no medevacs backing up these Marine Marauders.
Yeah, I was
Richard
gonna say,
loses.
this is actually really good timing on CrAzian's part, because since the Vikings are gone, I guess there's Vikings right there now.
But look at this. All the Marine and Marauders are just disintegrated. And with the Stalkers focus firing the Vikings, Richard's kind of out of options now.
Yeah, he can go for a base race with these Vikings over here, but the fact that he lost those Vikings, that would have been huge for this engagement.
And now all CrAzian needs to do is take out the unit constructing buildings, and he might have this game.
Yeah, I think he's won it. I don't think there's a lot that Richard can do right now.
Yeah, what an interesting timing push by CrAzian, completely catching Richard off guard and the Vikings out of position.
It does look like that Richard wants to try for a base race, but I don't think that...
Oh, but he has an extra command center he can just run and hide.
Oh, and he's going to hide it. That's interesting.
Oh, wow, what an interesting play. This might actually work strongly in his favor.
CrAzian has walled off. I was going to say he has walled off, but it doesn't really matter since there's a medevac right there.
But he puts a cannon down to complete the wall off with Stalkers behind, and that will give him a pretty strong advantage in the base race, especially as Richard loses all his unit-producing structures.
Man, I love me a good base race. Reminds me of my days on the NASCAR circuit.
Happy for you.
Yeah.
And especially since he moved the command center, it's not going to get revealed. And I don't know how this one's going to play out.
Yeah, this isn't good.
This would be the time for CrAzian to start pumping out observers or something.
Now, I do think that there actually are 2 command centers. Ooh, I just moved that. Wah, wah. I just moved the scoreboard at the top. My bad. There are 2 command centers now flying to different directions, and I think this is the second time this has happened to CrAzian, which is kind of unfortunate. I'm pretty sure he had a base race not too long ago.
I do not recall. And because his robotics bay and 2 gateways are on the low ground, those are now inoperative. And really, all this Marine and Marauder is all that's left of Richard's army.
Yeah, there's a few Vikings, but it's not enough. And I think that this is going to be game.
Richard refuses to quit. Gotta love that attitude.
Well, he does have a ton of minerals. I mean, both players actually have a ton of minerals saved up. CrAzian is supply blocked, but I mean, I guess if he really wants to try,
and the 2 Vikings land in Steven's base. I mean, he has to know about this, right?
Yeah, he's moving down right now. But I don't know why he's not scouting with the rest of his army to try and figure out where. This isn't going to be good. This Viking can easily land and snipe this Nexus.
Completely did not see when the Nexus got taken down. I guess it was during the base race portion.
Yeah, he tried to base race and he dropped all the Marines and Marauders and stuff. And wow,
Richard is now building 4 barracks.
4 barracks
at his northeast expansion, which luckily for CrAzian looks like the first one he's going to scout.
Yeah, that's really good news. And I I think this is going to be game. I mean, I said that, like 5 minutes ago, but I'm pretty sure now it's going to be game. I like the effort, but if Richard doesn't GG here...
He is not one to give up.
Not get a GG. So, if I was CrAzian at this point and I had such a huge advantage, I would slap down a Stargate and just start.
Absolutely, especially with all the money he has saved up. I mean, his army is dominated, and of course, you can't ask for a lot more, but you got to keep the macro game going, particularly if you're going to have to look around for things every time.
And there is a probe down here that just scouted out the other stuff.
You Protoss and your Colossi.
And the first game goes to CrAzian.